G'day guys, kia ora, my name is Wildkard, Super Rugby Grand Final, the Hurricanes versus the Chiefs. It is so epic that the scoreboard glitched out on rugby.com.au, so we're just going to show the score here. I am so sorry, Chiefs fan, but hey, listen, welcome to my life as a Australian rugby fan, okay? This is how I feel every weekend, okay? So don't feel too bad. Just get used to it. Okay? It's gonna make you a better, stronger man for life, okay? But listen, this has to be one of the most dominant, one-sided performance I have ever seen. This is probably the best club rugby team in the world, like ever. Just the way that the team build throughout the season, the team strategically pick their opponents apart at every stage of the of the season is just something that you don't see very much in, not let alone like club rugby level. International test teams can't even do this in a consistent level, right? And you literally have coaches and assistant coaches that looks at replays of the oppositions day after day after day and try to, with all the best players available, and trying to come up with the best plans of strategy, and all they could come up with is box kicking, right? This Hurricanes team has just picked apart the opposition with absolute clinicalness, before the game even started. Believe it or not, every week I talk about how the Hurricanes come out, make the game look so easy, right? It looks like they're just playing rugby, they're just throwing the ball around, and everything just seems to go to their way, right? The wind seems to be playing in their favor, despite the fact that, when Damien McKenzie was kicking into the wind, it's just, absolutely horrendous. And then Roygar was kicking into the wind. It was just, perfect. It just shows the plan. They planned for this. The Hurricanes planned for the wind, and Roygar changed his box kicking style to make that ball travel a little bit further and just get that ball to hang in the air that little bit, make it really difficult for you to catch. And just little things like that is something that they worked out ahead of time, and then during the game, you don't realize it, but that is the difference. That is why everything's so easy, because they've done everything beforehand. Every week I point out something about the Hurricanes that they've clearly done before the game, and they've just executed to perfection in this game, strategically, right? And this game strategically is about shutting down Damien McKenzie. Now, it's no-brainer. Everybody knows you got to shut down Damien McKenzie. He's the playmaker. And every week, we see teams fail to shut down D-Mac out of that 10 jersey, right? And one of the things that we know that D-Mac does really, really well is that if he gets momentum, he builds that confidence. And we've seen in the past so many seasons now that Damien McKenzie, if he gets a little bit of roll going, his kicking, his goal kicking gets 100%, and then he's able to just starting to build that momentum, build on that confidence, and suddenly the game is snowballing for you. So the Hurricanes did really well to just put him off his game. Just playing stuff that he's not expecting, and then just apply pressure with the big boys that they got in the back line. One of the things that you can tell that they just little thing, that brilliance that you can tell, like that they've delivered off the bench, right? So they got Kini Naholo, one of the biggest and most powerful players like on the planet, I would say, right? He is an absolute truck. Look at this guy. He's an absolute truck coming off the bench. And they had a set piece, right? They literally brought him on during like a scrum. I think it was a scrum, or maybe it was a line out. But I think it was a scrum inside the Chiefs 22, right? Almost like a bomb squad play from the Springboks. He came on. He's the winger. And the first thing he did, right, is stand on the 12 channel, and he trucked straight into the D-Mac. The first time he touched the ball, fresh legs, he's like 110 kilos, just belted in at you, right? Straight into D-Mac, and made D-Mac tackle him immediately as he come onto the field, right? That is the little stuff that the team have planned ahead. They picked apart everything that needs to be done, and then when they execute it on the field, that little thing starts to work against D-Mac. The fatigue start working against him, and then he can't run as fast, and he can't kick as far, and then the frustration starts to build, knowing that D-Mac likes to play, ahead. Things start to catch up, and things just start to get worse and worse and worse and worse for the Chiefs, right? And then you can see it, the passes, not just from D-Mac. Once D-Mac kind of starting to get a little bit lagging behind, there's no other decision makers left in the Chiefs side. The passes starting to go a bit too flat. The players are catching the ball flat-footed. There's no full momentum. There's lack of commitment to the breakdowns, and then there's a lack of defensive, rush defense as well as a result of just that one critical key, Damian McKenzie falling apart, and then the Hurricanes just build and build and build and build and build from there, right? For the whole season, the Hurricanes has always just excelled at three attacking playmakers. They got Jordie Barrett at 12, Ruben Love at 10, and Wildkard at 9. Just triple threat out there, and all three of them could take the ball and make a decision, and suddenly the game is opened up. And with those three, the threats that is widely available on the field, they have so many options when the ball goes out wide, right? Jordie Barrett can receive the ball, often receives the ball at 10, and then do a little backdoor play or something to Ruben Love, and Ruben Love suddenly is open up wider options that he can pick from, or go by himself. And there's just so many more dynamic attack options out of Hurricanes team, more than the Chiefs, where they solely rely on Damian McKenzie to do absolutely everything for them. And it's just absolutely wild how big the scoreline is. We're gonna look at the stats in a minute. It's even more ridiculous if you look at the stats. This has to be like the worst performance from a New Zealand team I've ever seen. I mean, maybe some of you guys could say that, in the 90s or something, the Blues may have done worse or something. But this is like the worst I've ever seen from a New Zealand team, at least I can remember. I thought last week when the Chiefs dominated the Crusaders, that was like outrageously impressive, right? Nobody dominates the Crusaders going into the finals, especially when the Crusaders build. They just absolutely like hone in, right? And then for the Chiefs to just absolutely blow them out last week to come into this one, considering that the last team that beat the Hurricanes, I think it wasn't the Chiefs, but I think it was the Blues that beat the Hurricanes, where they put the B team on, but like legitimately beat the Hurricanes in a full on, head-on-head was the Chiefs at Waikato when Warner Dern charged the ball down, only for Satiti to scoop it up and score under the post to win the match in Golden Point. So the Chiefs had what it takes to beat the Hurricanes, but the difference between then and now is that the Hurricanes learned and then improved, and the Chiefs, may have not really quite cracked the code against the Hurricanes. The win was this is just another one of those memorable games because it's in New Zealand. It's one of those just crazy weather. The 16th player, the gods of rugby, is one of the play the game himself. It looked like the wind swirling around. The little posts around the field, by the corner post, little corner post, that literally gets blown around left and right everywhere. You can't tell which way it's going. Like, it's going one way, and then in a few minutes it's pointing the other way. And you can tell, like, the players could not handle it. And just the way that the Hurricanes understood the wind and how to play it, when, keeping it low, whether it be, whether Roy got punting in a different trajectory, has really managed it a lot better than the Chiefs, where where D-Mac was kicking the ball too far from the kickoff, kicking the ball straight out. Almost like the Melbourne Rebels. Remind me of the Melbourne Rebels. But yeah, it's just, kick off straight out of bound, scrum midfield, and then to get a penalty from the scrum, give away a penalty from the scrum. Almost straight out of the playbook from the for the Melbourne Rebels at the times. But yeah, it just shows the lack of preparation, the lack of, the Hurricanes had just as much time to prepare for the wind as the Chiefs, and one team adopted and one team did not adopt to the conditions. So one of those was once again outstanding. The tie forwards, I thought the Hurricanes used it really, really well. Both Numia and Asafa Al-Moa, by the way. I think Asafa Al-Moa looked like my uncle. I should find a photo of my uncle to show you guys. He looked really like my uncle. I don't know, so sometimes when he scores, I'm like, hey, it's my uncle again. But anyway, Uncle Amoa was just punting people left and right. And one of the things I did notice is that both Numia and Amoa, they hang out wide a little, quite frequently, instead of chasing around in the middle of the field. The bigger props are, the bigger boys are set wider and just, kind of conserve that energy a little bit and make it a bit more efficient when they do have the opportunity to attack or in defense as well. Like the team was basically like what's called like the flow state for pretty much the entire game. The Chiefs maybe had a brief 2 minutes where they scored the try, where they actually got some sort of momentum, but it was just absolutely no momentum whatsoever at all. The team was just having a lot of fun out there as well. We got Leah, Willie King, crossfields, and it was just an absolute crazy game. Records were broken. 2 record, the highest number of tries scored in one single season of Super Rugby has been achieved this game by the Hurricanes. Anofo, Fihi Fanga Anofo is got 17, and also I'm pretty sure Josh Morby also got 17 as well. So we've got 2 tied at the top of the table for most tries scored for a Super Rugby season. And then, boy, this was crazy. Now, we're going to talk about the controversial referee decision from Mr. Nick Berry. So there was a deliberate knock-on by Warner Dern. He kind of went into tackle and then just stuck his hand out, knocked the ball, and he was like, oh, I'm sorry. And then Nick Berry was like, no, it's not a deliberate knock-on. And then the players challenged it, and then the TMO, not TMO, the commentary, the New Zealand commentary was like, yeah, that's not consistent, that's not right, that should be a yellow card. And Nick Berry said, nah, this is basically how we adjudicated for the whole season. You have to be spike down for this to be a yellow card. Now, let me just clarify this a little bit. I have watched every single game of Super Rugby, and I look at referees every single game. What Nick Berry said is actually not true. Seriously, this is a yellow card for any other referee other than Nick Berry. It is only true for himself, not even for himself for the full season, but for himself, maybe started like a month or 2 months ago, right? And I remember this specifically happened where there's a turning point where Zach Lomax deliberately knocked the ball on, and Nick Berry used basically the same justification that the law has been changed, which hasn't. The interpretation has been changed that it has to be a spike down for it to be a penalty. Knocking up is considered a genuine attempt, no matter, it just straight up, not a penalty. And I talked about it at the time that this could be easily abused, right? And obviously, to the surprise of the Kiwis and all the commentary at home, this wasn't a thing. But Nick Berry actually talked about this in a previous game. And this is something that the Rugby Australia has been pushing quite a bit. You hear the commentary here at Rugby Australia complaining about deliberate knock-on. They wanted to change it so that if the ball is going upwards, it's a genuine attempt. And I think it's quite absurd that the way that Nick Berry is Nick Berry / Rugby Australia telling him to do this, it's quite absurd because it is easily abused, right? You can just easily knock the ball up and then just stick your hand out and make sure your palm is facing up and knock the ball up and disrupt the game. And, in Rugby Australia's mind, they're trying to save the game by making it, less penalties and less yellow cards, less stoppage. But what they're actually creating is more stoppage, more open to abuse, less try being scored because the team actually understands that how hard it is to actually get a deliberate knock on now. They can just use this as a strategy and just constantly disrupt the game. And then, you end up with more scrums, less tries, and more just frustration from the fans and just deliberately, playing like anti-rugby essentially. And I think this is I think they really need to get the feedback to Rugby Australia and please don't blame Nick Berry. This is instruction from Rugby Australia that tells him to do it, and this is something something that is completely wrong. It doesn't make any sense, and Rugby Australia somehow think this is, I don't know where they're getting this ideas from, but really want to push this through, and it's going to be pretty bad if they actually got this through for Super Rugby. But now they've tried, and you can just tell that it doesn't really work. Earlier today, or yesterday rather, or whatever, the URC played, and let me tell you, in the Northern Hemisphere, any sort of deliberate knock-on is a penalty unless you catch the ball. Like, it genuinely catches the ball. It's basically like a penalty and a yellow card. There was 3 yellow cards in the URC final today, and all 3 of them are for deliberate knock-ons. And it's absolutely just something that it's not a change of the law, as Nick Berry has stated. It has to be a spike down. It's definitely not the law. It's just something that Rugby Australia is trying to push. Trying to push or try out maybe for Super Rugby, which is completely wrong. So outside of that, pretty much what, I don't know what else to say. It's just a crazy game. I think let's have a look at my stats, and I think some of you guys are going to be just absolutely flabbergasted by these some of the stats you're gonna see. 709 tries to 1. Super Rugby final. 771 wrong meters to 456. 170 carries to 123. 54 defenders beaten. I'm not even sure if All Blacks play, you know, Zimbabwe, they're gonna have 54 players beaten. It is crazy. 13 penalties, turnovers conceded against Hurricanes, 24 against the Chiefs. 166 tackles made, 31 missed tackles for the Hurricanes. Not that great, actually. The Hurricanes wasn't doing 100%. Like, this should have been like, maybe 20 or less. 193 tackles made for the Chiefs, 54 missed tackles. This has to be the highest missed tackle count I have ever seen since I started making videos. Probably ever since Super Rugby. Maybe an Australian team came close. Definitely highest I've ever seen from New Zealand side. Okay, like it's absolutely bananas, bonkers how bad this is. And Chiefs is not a bad team. 12 kicks in play for the Hurricanes, 16 for the Chiefs. 6 out of 9 for Ruben Love. Like, the wind was crazy bad, and then Ruben Love missed 3, and all 3 hit the post. Like, seriously, next level. This guy is Ruben Love. Like, I can't wait for him to get the black jersey. Like, seriously, if he doesn't get the black jersey, there'll be a riot in New Zealand, I think. Like, he was just so good. D-Mac rejected to take the penalty. So they scored 1 try, and they declined to take the goal. Not even trying to take a drop goal. I think I think D-Mac don't want to do a drop goal because of the win they missed and just look bad. So they just declined. They just declined to kick the goal. Yeah, it was just it was so bad. It was so bad. 566 kick meters to 359. Both teams were playing against the win at some point. So lineouts 3-2 lost for the Hurricanes, 4-3 lost for the Chiefs. So not good for either teams, but we could say that the win probably has something to do with it. 12 scrums, no scrums lost for either teams. The Hurricanes definitely had a little bit of dominance, in my opinion. Some of the scrums I thought could have been called a penalty for the Hurricanes by the referee Nick Berry. Probably got criticized for calling too much penalties from the scrums. Didn't really do so. 8 penalties conceded for the Hurricanes, 4 against the Chiefs. A lot of the penalties Hurricanes given out, I think, were basically the second half after they won the game, and they're kind of taking the foot off the gas a little bit. But yeah, still 4 penalties given out for the Chiefs under tremendous pressure. Just shows how good the discipline actually has been for both teams, actually. So let's do a quick summary of the game. Oh my goodness. I'm just gonna go through it really quickly because there's too many tries. 5 minutes, there was a scrum penalty. I think there was a penalty, or I think it was a scrum penalty to Hurricanes. But anyway, I was scrum penalty. So lots of crash balls. Eventually the ball over the top to Josh Morby. Morby steps in, field, went in for the try. The ball kind of like almost drifted a bit in the wind, but Morby got it a bit awkward, but stepped in and went in anyway. 5 points to 0. There was a little bit of 14 minutes in, there was a little bit of kicks through by Ruben Love. The ball ricocheted back to Roygard, and Roygard kicked it through again, and Ruben Love followed it through, picked up the ball, try time, 12 points to 0. There was a little talk from the referee and the TMO. They said that was Ruben Love offside when was Roygard offside when Ruben Love kicked the ball? Yes, Roygard was in front of the kicker, but because the ball ricocheted back from the Chiefs, that puts Roygard onside to kick the ball through again. So then this try stands, 12 points to 0. 24 minutes in the game, the Hurricanes just hitting the gang line again and again. The Ruben Love got the ball, a nice little flat pass to Fihi Fainga Onofo into the corner, 19 points to 0. 27 minutes in, deliberate knock on, no yellow card against Warner Derns. 37 minutes again, Asafa Amoa got the ball down the sideline. He looked like a center, just running, pumping people, like literally pumping, like stiff arming people through. He got into the 22 and the ball came out wide. A bunch of crash balls, and Jordy Barrett got the ball. Another crash from him, he popped the ball off the ground to Harkham, who ran in for the try. 26 points to 0. Right on the dot at half time, there was a scrum field penalty to the Hurricanes. They kicked a 50-meter like swirling wind goal from Ruben Love. 29 points to 0 at halftime. Went into the sheds. Coming out of the second half, the Hurricanes just kept on standing their dominance. 34 minutes, there was a scrum. The ball went out wide. The Ruben Love got the ball from the backdoor play, and he beats one defender and then linked it to Josh Morby, who ran in straight into the corner. 36 points to nil. So now Morby and Whainga Norfolk on 17. 36 points to nil. 48 minutes in again. Devin Flanders gets a nice little short pass from Harkin midfield, and he punts through a little gap. And then he went in for the, I think it was, went in for the try. 41 points to nil after this. 50 minutes again. Leo Walker-Willie kicking the crossfield just for fun. 53 minutes, absolute domination. There was a little kick behind. The ball got to Roy, got a little grubber kick behind. And the pressure went on to D-Mac, and he dropped the ball in front of the goal line. And there was a 5-meter scrum. And then just a bunch of, what happened here? Oh, yeah, a bunch of crash balls. Eventually the ball went out to what happened here? Oh, yeah, eventually the ball went out center field, like a long pass crash ball to Geordie Barrett, who went over for the try. 48 points to nil. 67 minutes, Peter Larkai, ran through the middle of the field like a winger. Is like fastest player on the field. And then just, the ball went out wide, I think. The ball, he got tackled into 22. The ball went out wide to Ruben Love. Jumps into the corner. Almost like a wheelbarrow dunk into the corner. 53 points to nil. And then finally, 74 minutes, the Chiefs gets their first try. There was a penalty. They take a tap and go. And then a bunch of picking drives. And then Akoi drives over for the try. Looked like McAllister almost scored as well, but Akoi was one, eventually got it. 53 points to 5. D-Mac says, I don't want to kick this. So no conversion attempt. And then 78 minutes, George Morby, another counter attack. What happened here? It was a counter attack. The ball was, he counter attack. He ran through a bunch of defenders. He got tackled, pops the ball off the ground for Rover, who ran through a couple of easy defenders for a try. 60 points to 5, the final score. And boy, the biggest and craziest Super Rugby finish I've ever seen, and best Super Rugby team I have ever seen. Let me know your thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching. See you guys. I don't know. See you guys for the Springbok Barbarian game. Cheers.